This is a gyroscope, the absolute bleeding edge of technology at the moment it was created, with millions of lives depending on its reliable operation. Let me give you some basic knowledge. Stand it on end and it falls over. Try to suspend it like this and it drops. But spin the wheel and all that changes. Modern aircraft use spinning gyroscopes to control and balance the plane in any climatic condition. Huge structures like the Burj Al Arab stand stable in water. Self-balancing motorcycles rely on gyroscopes. Gyroscopes have become an essential component in aircraft, ships, robots, and spacecraft.
I've never come across one of those. Neither have I come across stuff like this one's floating in the sky. You see? They are crazy stuff. Now, what is this, my friends? Oh my god, is that some balloon or what's that thing? Some creature, robot? This is crazy stuff. Is this real or CGI? My god, what is this thing? Why is it moving in such a way? Or this is a satellite? I don't know. But looks like some stones. Or hey, good people of Earth, what is this? Oh, without these things that are floating in the sky here, as you have been seeing in different videos and different episodes, there are scary times or crazy times you are living in, you see? These are the perfect times for humans to unite. Live as one, be kind to one another, loving, you see, and just caring. And be honest above all with everyone. And be forgiving, good people of Earth, you see? We can let go of all burdens that we may have in heart and just be loving. Good vibes. And stuff like this ones now together, they can never dazzle our mind, you see? Because we could now be understanding what they might be. And you could even send people to go up there and check. You see? When your dog brings his bed outside every day to enjoy the sun. Wow! This is an intelligent dog. But I'm surprised it even has a bed. Hey, this bed looks more comfortable than some people's bed from this side of the world. You see? Myself, I could have such a bed. It's good vibes, you see? This dog must really have some nice life. Wonderful humans living with the animals in interesting ways, you see? And this is just adorable. These guys have given the animals some good home and peace. And the animal has understood that there's some place to even be comfortable to do stuff like this. It's good vibes, you see? New animals. Oh, look at this. This allegedly is videos of old Tartaria. And as you can see, there is some floating stuff there moving around the city there. And you might wonder what's going on. And it looks normal. Which plant is this? My friends, you mean this is purple? How is this now? Which type of plant is this, good people of Earth? Is this real or man-made? It looks not bad. I don't know how. Please, can you describe even how it tastes there in the comment section if you know?
I used to think that everybody had the similar experience, but like if I asked you what was your first memory in life, what would it be?
I don't think I know.
My first memory was almost like when you're dreaming and you're falling and you hit the bottom and you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first memory, but I didn't wake up here. I was inside my mother's womb. And I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb. And I'm like, okay, don't forget I'm here. Okay. Don't forget. You go to sleep. Wake up again. Now something's moving in front of you. And you're like, oh, that's my friend. But I had a different name for it. I didn't know it was my hand. But I knew I had a title for it. Go back to sleep, all of those things. Then ultimately you get ready to come out. I remember all of that.
You remember coming out?
Remember being compressed, and you want to panic, but you're flooded with like some serotonin and dopamine to where you feel relaxed. You go right back to sleep. You remember being born. I remember being circumcised. I remember the whole nine.
Good people of Earth, we should be kind, don't do drugs, spread love.
That is a pangolin, one of the rarest animals in the world. First off, they're the only mammal that has scales. And those scales are made of keratin, which is a type of protein. It's the same protein our hair is made out of, or our fingernails, or a rhino's horn. On top of that, their scales are also razor sharp. So their scales are both their shield and their sword. That's innovative. And basically, when they're threatened by a predator, they roll up into a ball. And they roll up so tight that no animal can make them uncoil, including hyenas. Or even lions. They'll try and slice up their mouth until they realize what they're doing is dumb. And if all that doesn't work, just to put the cherry on top, they can also spray a super pungent smell from their back end. Sound familiar? Heh. They got that skunk in them, which will definitely make a predator not want to eat them. I mean, you want your food to smell good, right? Moral of the story, sometimes defense is better than offense, because there's not many offenses that can stop a lion. And as always, follow for more facts.
You see, I've come across that animal a lot of times from this side.
Okay, this is going to blow your mind. So, yesterday, before I left the tunnel system, I saw a small exit. It was next to the larger cave that I came out of. There was a small exit to the side. I decided to put a trail cam there and just let it run overnight. And you are not going to fucking believe what it captured.
My friends, what do you think was that?
Hey, TikTok, I've seen it all. What the heck is that? This car's upside down. What the heck is even that? You don't know what it is? Hey, even the axle's upside down. The engine's upside down. That's crazy. Look at you go. Rod Run 2024 in Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Hey, my friends. Hey, that car, you can drive it
You
both
can't
way.
convince me that everyone around me is human, and I've been doing my research on this. This is insane. Hebrews 13:2. Let brotherly love continue. Do not neglect to show hospitality, for by doing this, some have welcomed angels as guests without knowing it. Clearly, the Lord is implying that some angels take on the form of humans, which is insane to think about. It's mind-blowing. Think about how many human beings you've come across thinking they're just human. That's why it's so important to treat everyone around you that comes into your life nicely. But if that's the case, then do demons also take on the form of humans? If angels walk amongst us, demons also do. Think about it. And trust me, I've dealt with a handful of people who don't seem normal. But look, then we got Matthew 12:43. When an unclean spirit comes out of a person, it roams through waterless places looking for rest, but doesn't find any. Then it says, I'll go back to my house that I came from. Returning, it finds the house vacant, swept, and put in order. Then it goes and brings with it 7 other spirits, more evil than itself. And they enter and settle down there. As a result, that person's last condition is worse than the first. That's how it will also be with this evil generation. Bro, what? You know, this changes literally everything. Knowing this information, every interaction I've had, I've been overthinking. But we always pray to the Lord for discernment, for intuition, to be able to realize who's human, who's an angel, and who's a demon.
Oh, my friends, please spread love to those that are around you. This is a borehole that was drilled through a mountain. Oh my God. It's known as binoculars. Crazy, that one. It was made using an experimental machine in the 1860s. The machine was most cost effective. You see, it wasn't most cost effective, but lives behind this cool feature in the Welsh landscape. It looks nice, you see? Does it did? Oh, this is great. Look at it. And this is where it ends. Huh. Those guys were up to something great, my friends, you see? Oh, my friends, look at this. This good vibes humans is like they went to adopt that dog and they took it home, you see? And they even give it a celebration for their first birthday. Ah, this is nice. This is incredible. And the dog does not believe this. It's probably what I mean. These guys, they mean this for this. Adopted dog doesn't want to leave new owners aside, you see? It's just feels happy. Good vibes and good vibes, people of Earth. You see, you should always take care of those around you. You see, like our friend here, Kasungumo, for instance, he was out there being chased by our dogs. You see, that's how we came across him and spread love.
Nope, you're not crazy. That's the Michael Phelps of birds. The puffin, also known as the sea parrot. They are birds, and they are skilled flyers, being able to fly 55 miles an hour. However, unlike most birds, they spend most of their time in water because they're literally built for it. First off, they can dive 300 feet underwater. I should never see wings 300 feet underwater. They're also great at holding their breath, and they can swim 15 feet per second. Sounds like a fish to me, and that's not even the crazy part. Since they spend all their time in water, their whole diet is fish. And they have serrated beaks that can lock fish in place. In other words, it allows them to grab multiple fish in one dive without losing any. Like puffins have been spotted leaving the water with over 60 fish in their mouth at once. What in the superpower is that? If I was a puffin, I wouldn't leave the water either. Moral of the story, penguins are not the only swimming bird. Puffins are basically fish. And as always, follow for more facts.
Ah, that's interesting, man. I've never come across those. Have you?
What if I told you that St. Christopher, who is often depicted as a dog-headed saint, actually was a dog-headed saint? And not only that, but I could prove it. Would you keep watching? You see, not only have these dog-headed creatures been talked about throughout history, but I actually found one. A petrified one. A really, really, really well-known petrified one. But before I show you actual evidence of the Egyptian demigod Anubis's remains, I gotta build a case. And I'm gonna let a few people who have built the case for this do this for me.
Throughout history, there have been numerous accounts of dog-headed people living in distant lands. You've probably seen images of the cynocephalus before. Cyno means dog, and cephalus means of the head. For example, you've probably seen the Egyptian god Anubis, the god of death and embalming. Anubis has been found in Egyptian tombs, and he has the body of a man and the head of a jackal. This is a cynocephalus. The detailed written accounts by explorers, conquerors, and missionaries of these cynocephali in India, Asia, Africa, and Europe are actually rather consistent. In fact, these strange beasts were described in writings as recent as the last few hundred years. There are clear depictions of cynocephaly in the writings of St. Augustine, Alexander the Great, Marco Polo, even Christopher Columbus.
Maps as recent as the Piri-Reis map of 1513 actually depict the cynocephaly. I found pictures of this map, and guess what? These beings are on here, clear as day. Not only once, but twice. Here's a still image of it, and it's a real map. I verified it.
One of the earliest accounts of the cynocephaly dates back to around 400 BC. In Indica, Greek physician Ctesias describes the wondrous land now known as India, where trees grew to staggering heights, elephants roamed the jungles, and a race of dog-headed people inhabited the lofty and inaccessible mountains. They speak no language but bark like dogs, and in this manner make themselves understood by each other. They understand the Indian language but are unable to converse, only barking or making signs with their hands and fingers by way of reply.
Notice they're talking hands and fingers, not paws.
Of course, the infamous John Mandeville also published an account of the cynocephaly in his travels, which circulated in the mid to late 1300s. This account is more similar to Ctesias in that the cynocephaly are described as intelligent and reasonable, even devout, with the only odd characteristic being that they tend to eat their prisoners of war. After that isle go men by the sea ocean, by many isles, unto an isle that is clept Nakumera, that is a great isle, and good, and fair. And all the men and women of that isle have hounds' heads, and they be clept cynocephalies, and they be full reasonable and of good understanding, save...
Now, St. Christopher is not only said to be a dog-headed being, but also a giant being. A giant so big that part of the reason he became a saint is because he was carrying people across this river, because he was so tall in it that he could carry people on his shoulders. And it was even said that he helped carry Jesus across when Jesus was a child. So up until this point, I've only presented you evidence from other people, other people's stories, other people's maps depicting these beings. But this is where I come in. This is where I seal the deal and hopefully open your eyes to the fact that not only did these exist, but they existed on a stature bigger than your wildest dreams. What I want to first remind you of is there have been giants here. The Bible talks about it, and we see evidence all around us. Evidence of the mountains literally being petrified giants, titans in fact. And let me also remind you that not only were there giants, but there was wickedness in those days. There was cannibalism, and there was hybridization of humans and animals. And this is where I really step in. I had heard that this giant cave that resembled a dragon was in Egypt, so I wanted to explore Egypt. But instead of finding this, I found something much, much bigger. I found the literal corpse of petrified Anubis right in the middle of Egypt, shown here with his head even down to mouth and nose. Now you might not see it at first, but let me just make it a little more clear. We have his mouth here and his nose, his eyeball, his whole head here obviously, neck down to his body and torso, and he even has a tail. And when compared to some images of Anubis, you can see they look pretty similar. But there's a smoking gun, and I'm about to show it to you. You see, even in the hieroglyphics, Anubis is depicted with this, and sometimes that is in his staff, kind of like in this hieroglyph. And even in cartoon images, he's depicted with it. And I don't know about you, but what I see in that staff, I see right here, even with its long, straight, petrified staff. Now, if that's not a smoking gun telling you that this is actually the Egyptian demigod Anubis, I don't know what is. Now, I went on to find some even crazier anomalies in this terrain, like this bird-looking creature right here, and this owl-looking one right here that I'll show you in a second. But let me also point out his tail that comes down and around. And it just so happened that I found a bird hieroglyph that looks very similar to that bird outline in the terrain of Egypt. And even though this one's harder to see, also an owl in the terrain of Egypt with its face being right there. It's the dark outline there. And all of them the bird, owl, and even possibly Anubis in one giant hieroglyph. And I don't know about you, but that head looks awfully small for that body. Kind of like it was an afterthought. Kind of like originally, maybe it was something different. Now, luckily for me, you can explore this yourself. All you have to do is take a little trip to Egypt and see what you see. Now, I know this is a whomper of a tale, but I think I've provided you some pretty solid evidence to at least open your mind to some of these things. And maybe next time I'll talk about this giant looking platypus thing that's 3 times the size of Anubis, also in Egypt. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my tale of entertainment. Of course I know there's no such thing as dog-headed creatures. No, we just live in this physical world where only humans have evolved from apes, and we live on a spinning planet, and Big Bang happened. Yeah, all that stuff. Just for entertainment purposes. You guys know I'm a satire account. Have a great day.
And hit the like button please if you enjoyed this video. See?
Remember this girl who discovered that all of the presidents except for one descended from one guy. Now that was found in 2012, so that does not include the presidents that came after 2012, so Trump and Biden. But she discovered that they all descend from King John of England. And that would be interesting, except for the fact that this guy's father was King Henry II. And if we look at King Henry II, whose names do we see? Do these names look familiar? Guess what? That's OJ's line, that's Britney's line, and that's Beyonce's line. So they're also related to all the presidents via this homie right here. And yes, this is the same line that leads to Charlemagne. I'm related to Charlemagne, but this isn't my line. And if you think it's just common to be related to royalty, it's really not. And the fact that she could find it, most people's trees don't go this far back. It's kind of hard to find somebody that's got that royal root. And the fact that 42 of the 43 presidents, just Van Buren, that doesn't link up. Interesting.
Interesting stuff, those, my friend. You see?
Let's theorize about the sun simulator. Now, people think it's ridiculous that there could be an artificial sun in our sky blocking our natural sun, but what if we just explained the theory a bit? Maybe people would understand it a bit more. First of all, why would they do this? Why would the powers that be use technologies to put in front of our sun and project a brighter sun? Well, because our natural sun would be losing its light, becoming a red dwarf, as was predicted, not only by Nostradamus in the Bible, but by scientists. So they wouldn't want people to be upset or afraid because this was happening. Sure, I'm sure that's what it is. But also because it's possible they're using this opportunity to use that device as a weapon, and also to hide the fact that we live in an electromagnetic world that is now having a weaker magnetic field. So the sun and the moon will no longer shine, as we are told in scripture and by the prophets, who were actually alchemists and understood the cycles, granted, okay? We were told by them that this time would come where the sun and the moon would no longer shine. So the powers that be would use this opportunity to create an artificial sun, to use its energy, to use it as a biological weapon. TikTok creator Eyes of Tomorrow shows you in his videos that the sun is not normal. So many TikTok creators are showing you all around the world that there are 2 suns in the sky. You can see on the left that this is not a normal lens flare, and it corresponds perfectly to the image on the right, which is the technology that is patented. This is all theory, of course, right? It's just speculation. So hopefully I won't be blasted by one of these rays from the positron ray and disintegrated for saying this. But so yeah, that's what Nostradamus said. He said a positron ray would be used 1,000 leagues above us, and they would watch from above as the fish in the sea boiled and things were set on fire, as there were droughts and other kind of things going on. They would be fine up there in their spaceships, whatever it is they have up there. Now, you may think that's ridiculous, but they've told you that they have a hotel up above us. And for those of you who believe that we live on a flat plane inside of a torus field, it's absolutely possible to have devices and ships still above us, spiraling on the circuits of the atmospheric circuits above us, just like the sun circles on its own circuit, just like the moon, just like all of the constellations. These are planes. And so it would absolutely be possible, just like it's possible to have a satellite up there. I'm not one of those people that say satellites are not real or they're impossible, because obviously you can use solar energy to keep something above you circling over a flat disk. So there's no arguing about that. The technology exists. They have it. So what would this mean exactly? Well, so to sum up, they are using this technology, which has a patent. China has admitted to creating an artificial sun. They would put it in front of our old sun to magnify the light, to make it look like it's our same old sun, to buy them some time, because when our sun and moon are done, and there's no longer polarity in the world, because that's what the sun and the moon represent, the polarization of this plane. We're moving into non-polar reality. And so we're returning back to more of a heavenly type existence, in my opinion, according to everything I've researched and everything that I feel inside of me. We're in an ascending age now. And so anybody that likes to dominate and control and keep people polarized won't be able to continue to do that. So they're going to have to go somewhere else where they can do that. And apparently the next realm over, which would be the Mars realm, would be entering into the duality state, whereas we're moving out of it. So perhaps that's why they're trying to go into that realm. And I do not believe that they're trying to escape flooding and disasters of massive flooding on the earth by going into underground bunkers. Now, flooding means everything floods. Why would you go underground if everything was going to flood? That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, unless they were sealed tight. And, then you're going to have to wait for the waters to recede before you can come out back up again. If they're going underground, I believe they would be going all the way down to the other side. Now, I used to see the cartoons about how the Bugs Bunny would dig a hole to China on the other side of the world. Don't you think they're trying to tell you something? So if there are other civilizations, they would be inside the earth, which would be hollowed out with cave systems. On the other side, it would be just like this side, but upside down. And it would be like a disk. Okay, so the other side it would also have its black hole sun at the center of this disk. Okay, you've got energy coming up this way into the polarized world, and then you've got it coming through the other side, which we don't know what exists on the other side, correct? But it's alluded to that the other side is more like an anti-matter world, like a cartoon sort of world, whereas this is more dense, solid, slower vibrating than the other world. And then you have the realms that extend out inside the torus fields, after torus fields, infinitely outward as well. That's the theory of the flat earth plane, torus field, primer field model of the world, which I call the atomic model of the world. So the way this ties back into the sun simulator is that our time is up, but they're extending it as much as they can until they're prepared to go to the other side or outside or wherever it is they're going to continue their rule. And they don't want us to know about it because most people wouldn't stand for it. They wouldn't continue to just freely allow themselves to be manipulated and controlled if they had this information. And as I've said before, the flat earth model is a Merkaba energy field. It's an atom. It's what all things are made of. And when you know you're made in that image, you can't be controlled any longer. You know your spirit, your spiritual being having a material experience. And everything is made in that image to various degrees, various densities, above and below. Well, if our natural sun is becoming a red dwarf, then the entire world is going to become cooler, except they have the sun simulator, which is making everything hotter. So the wind, the air will be cooler, as it has been here in Florida, yet the sun will be intensely hot and so much brighter and whiter and blasting out through the sky as you see it. And you will be able to see our natural sun behind it if you pay attention and you get it the right angle and you have good timing and live in the right place. You're going to be able to see it. So I'll show you some photos of this in video, but basically, what are the repercussions of this? Everything will probably suffer because we won't have the same frequencies that we had with our natural sun. And so people like me that don't get enough vitamin D will have more issues. People who are not getting enough sunlight during the day, the natural frequencies, will have trouble with their dreams, their pineal visions. See, I have visions, and I had bright, clear, beautiful visions before, remote viewing and things like that. And ever since this thing went up, I haven't been able to have proper visions like I was before. I knew something was wrong. And I've been saying for a long time that this sun is not right, and it's not where it should be either. It's moving. It's not right. So these are all theories, and it just requires you to pay attention and think for yourself.
Yo, wonderful sauce, my friends. Thank you very much for watching up to this part. Good vibes. So see, you guys are lovely and wonderful. See, and watching all those videos here and leaving comments, hitting the like button. It's really appreciated.